Today we're going to be looking at my track Funkstep. This was released as a single a few weeks ago on Dirt Monkey's label 19K. It's also going to be on my album, the same name, which is coming out probably in a few weeks. This is the first kind of funky dubstep track I made that I really nailed it. I mean, I've been experimenting with the idea for a few years, but this is the first time I've like just really cracked it, I felt like. Anyway, if you've probably heard it before if you're watching this video, but if not, I'll give it a quick playthrough just from here, and you can see what the vibes are, then we'll get right into it.
I'm on a funk flex. Yeah. 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 I'm on a funk flex.
Cool, so you get the idea. It's a fairly simple track really, it came together pretty quickly. I think it started with this guitar idea, which it's pretty simple really. But a lot of it's all flattened down now. As you can see, all the bass has been resampled for a few reasons. I mean, like, as you can see, I've done lots of fades and stuff here. Like I tend to do that when I finish a track just to make sure it's like, it just makes it a lot cleaner, and like you can kind of fuck around with audio a little bit more, and it kind of gives it an extra level of something to play with, kind of thing. We will go back into some older versions of the track. If you look here, this is how many versions. I mean, I tend to like. This isn't like I finished it and then finished it again and again. It's usually every single time I've done a session on it, I'll save as. This kind of gets around the thing of like, people joke about, oh, when you spend all night on a tune and then you open it the next day and it sounds shit. It's like, well, you should have saved as, mate, and then you'll be fine. So this gets around a lot of those problems. And also, another reason for all the save as and the bouncing is like I started this. In fact, most of the tracks on my album I made on my laptop. I'm now on a Hackintosh, and my laptop just couldn't really handle it. So by the end of the album, it was like, it was really difficult. And then I bought this Hackintosh and sort of did the last tweaks on that, and it was a bit easier to work with. I guess we start off by kind of looking at how I structure my projects. And this is pretty typical for like all the music I've been making for years. I mean, I've been tweaking. This is a template, so when I open a track, I'll already have like drum groups, bass groups, everything, sidechain triggers, all this stuff set up, so I can dive straight in with the music. And I've been tweaking my templates for years, but it's not really changed too much. I always color things the same as well, so that if I go back into an old project straight away, I know everything is. Just to run through it really quickly, I've got a sidechain trigger here. This is just like some white noise and operator. I'm using that to trigger all my sidechaining. And then drums, I've got my beef, which is kick and snare in the same channel. Rack, which I use for all my hats and stuff. And I got some layers of claps here. Blah blah blah, and that's all being grouped into drums and compressed. Sometimes I'll do like some soft clipping. I'm doing some EQ on there as well. Bass, kind of similar vibe. We've got the sidechain trigger here with Shaperbox. I'm using Shaperbox for sidechaining. I've recently switched over to this just because I found that the Ableton compressor, using the sidechain on that, just don't have as much control, and also you get a lot of clicks and stuff sometimes. So similar thing with this. I'm grouping everything together. I've got EQ, compression. I'm using a separate sub in this. I pretty much always use hip hop sub bass these days, which is a preset in Ableton for my subs, which is fucking wicked. And then I got all my vocals here in a group as well. Sometimes I would sidechain the vocal groups. Looks like I haven't for this. It depends on the track really. Then instrument group. This is all my guitars, horn stabs and stuff. You can see there's a few channels here that aren't even being used because they're obviously from my template. So I have like electric piano, saw lead, all these things ready to go. So when I I open a project, I can instantly just get going. I'm not faffing around with setting things up. On my newest version of the template, I actually even have like some drum sounds, some kicks and snares and stuff, just to get the ball rolling. I can always switch them out later. And then I got my effects group here with all my sweeps and all that shenanigans. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it really. I've also got reverb send and delay send. The reverb's being sidechained too, so everything's pumping together. So yeah, I guess we'll start with the drums because they're not flattened, and we can talk about that really quickly, and then maybe I'll open one of the older projects and we can have a look at the bass sounds and stuff. Well, I guess firstly we should probably talk about how I said the idea came together, because I think that's quite important in starting a track, like to have like a good idea to start with. Like this obviously came from I'm pretty sure I remember like just playing this on the guitar and just being like, yeah, that's the fucking vibe. It's like got a triplet rhythm. Let's make something funky dubstep, kind of Dirt Monkey-esque, that has those funky guitar-y vibes in it. And even if you don't end up achieving that goal in the end, just having some direction is a really good place to start, rather than just being like, I'm just gonna make a song and then you're just kind of stuck, you know. So yeah, I think what I probably would have done is I've wrote that and the build up first, and then the drop. Sorry, and yeah, we'll get into drums now, and then look at all these bass sounds. So yeah, the drums are pretty simple. Like yeah, as you might notice, the kind of the whole track's in triplets, so it's kind of like 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. So yeah, it's quite sparse. Here we've just got sorry, I can't see. I got the light behind here. Beef. Here we go. So yeah, it's just a cymatics kick. Not a lot going on there. that should be doing something, but maybe it isn't. Yeah, then I've got one of my snares. Also laid up with a bit of a splash there. So that's pretty standard. I mean, sometimes I'll make my own kicks and stuff and kick too on that, but in this case, I just kind of jumped in and gone with a sample that sounds good. I think don't be afraid to do that. A lot of people like to bitch about using samples and stuff, but at the end of the day, it's about the outcome, not the process. And I think the people that get hung up on how you made a track, usually people that can't make good tunes and just want a reason that their tune's good. It's like, it's not really about how you made it, is it? It's about what you end up with. And also, like, with stuff like this, like, you know, I'm going to be honest, like, I'm not very good at synthesizing really epic drum sounds that are going to fucking cut it in a track like this. So rather than having like a half-assed track that I've tried to make everything from scratch, why not make a dope one when someone's already made some of these sounds for me, you know? And like, you know, when you listen to this track, yeah, you're not like, ooh, dope kick, bro. It's just a fucking tune, innit? So yeah, let's have a look at the rack. Again, pretty simple. A lot of people thought I was using Dirt Monkey's cowbell from his pack and Zap, but it wasn't. These are actually from other packs. They're from, I have like a big folder here somewhere, just of like all these old drum machine samples. So I think they're just from some stuff from those. This Zap guy, cowbell. I've like put Dimension Expander on, one of my favorite plugins. Compressor, clipping, boom. So yeah, obviously that bit's quite sparse. And then when it picks up, I bring in a bit of a ride, which as you can see is pretty heavily sidechained. And that's pretty much it for the drop drums, really. As you can see, it's all pretty simple, mostly just like compressing and EQing everything, but like mostly like minimal processing. I try and like just pick good sounds to start with. Like there's a lot to be said for that. Like the more you tweak something, especially if you don't know what you're doing, or if you're in a shitty room or you don't have good monitors, then you're just making it worse, or you're just tweaking it to fit your room. Like, sorry, excuse me, I have some water. Like someone's, like I was saying about those drum sounds, chances are the guy who made that kick has a much better setup than I do, and like I'm gonna trust his ears. So yeah, I'll have a look at the breakdown sort of drums. It's, again, pretty fucking simple. I've got this clap build thingy. This is from like a Vengeance pack. They have these great kind of like I really shouldn't put the light there. Have these great sort of crowd effects. I think I've just like cut out some low end on it, so it sounds. Let's take these off. Yeah. So it was kind of originally probably intended to be like people stamping and clapping, but then if I cut the low end out, it kind of sounds more like a drumstick, which I thought was cool. Like. And yeah, I've been using these crowd sounds quite a lot in my recent productions. There's probably some more as well somewhere. Let's have a look. Is that one? No. Okay, maybe not. But yeah, just like really good atmosphere. It gives the track a lot of energy, and it kind of tricks people into like cheering along when you play it live as well, which is funny. And then here we go, build up. Again, pretty simple. I mean, one thing that's worth noting is the crash cutting out. That's something I've been doing quite a lot recently. It kind of creates quite a cool sucking energy effect. It works on the drop as well. I mean, obviously, I haven't done it here, but if you imagine like this, just creates quite a cool effect. I've been doing that quite a lot. It works really well with house as well. Yeah, obviously this is a triplet thing going on. This is flattened now, but.
I'm on a funk flex.
I think this is a mixture of a few different fills. Oh no, it isn't.
A funk flex. Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much it really for the drums. So yeah, we'll look at basses now. Obviously these are all like pretty much flattened, so let's go and have a look at some earlier versions of the project. Maybe we'll open up version 1, see what that one looks like.
A few moments later.
Okay, so here we are in the very first version of this project. I'm pretty sure it wouldn't sound much different.
Yeah.
So yeah, the basic idea is still there. From here onwards, it's obviously just tweaking. But yeah, as you can see, like even though there's like 20 fucking versions of the project, I tend to smash most of the tune out in the first kind of few hours of a session, and then after that it's just tweaking really. I think that's kind of the best way to work, because when you kind of get that vibe, that inspiration, you want to roll with it really. Get as much of the creative ideas out first as you can. So let's get into the basses. I guess the first one is this guy, which is already flattened, and this one too, but let's have a look at this one. This is basically the same. So yeah, this is I think this is kind of a bit of a preset I've made, or like a rack I've saved. But basically, let's turn off some of this processing. It's it's in Contact, called Scarby Pre-Bass. Oh, fuck off. So yeah, you can, as you know, on its own it sounds pretty shit. But then I've got some Ableton amp on there, some overdrive, some good old OTT, and some EQ to bring out the highs a bit more, then some compression. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And I think, yeah, I probably made this quite a while ago. I've used it in a few different tunes and kind of honed it over a while. Just saved this rack, chucked it in there, fucking boom. And yeah, that's what I'm using in the intro here. It tends to be quite noisy. I'll probably cut, as you can hear, there's quite a lot of noise in between. So sometimes I'll put a gate on it, or I'll cut holes when I bounce it. What else we got? I think this is actually just a sample from the Leviathan pack by Blackout to a Sound, which is really dope. I've used this in a couple of tunes actually. It's just gnarly. Sometimes for those, again, with samples, like you can say, oh, you should make them yourself, but I think as long as it's not the main focus of it, with bass sounds especially, as long as the main bass in your tune isn't from a pack, then that's cool. But also, who fucking cares? Like I say, just make a tune. Who cares? Have fun. This is obviously fucking simple as balls. It's just a saw.
Yeah.
I'm coming from operator. Bit of let's have a look at processing. Just turn it all off and turn it all on like the cool guys do. Oh, super simple. I find like if I'm just want like a solid saw or square, that I'm not going to do much to, or I'm going to process that. I usually get it from operator. It just seems to be cleaner, uses less CPU. Yeah, let's have a look. Some EQ, erosion, chorus, OTT, obviously. And I do this quite a lot, like doing these huge peaks in the sort of 10k range. Just like, yeah, just brings out all that high end, makes stuff sound really clean, a lot more detail. I mean, it's a stylistic thing, so you know, take it or leave it. Good compressor, boom.
Yeah.
And you obviously got a separate sub that's carrying the weight.
Yeah.
Right, let's have a look at these. We'll unfreeze these boys.
Yeah.
So there's that guy. These two laid up. Also pretty simple. So that's kind of the main sound, which is got just a square wave, and there's Olophone's boy, which is from Vowel here. Most of the characters coming from this filter here, which obviously the resonance and the fat is what's giving it its character in this kind of shape here. Also this kind of unison, that's kind of giving it that overtone a bit. And then yeah, we've got some distortion, flanger, phaser, compressor, all just kind of like little cheeky bits of all this stuff. Just, you know, I don't like to over process my sounds, like that's just kind of how I roll. I quite like the clean stuff, but just having a little bit of these things just adds to it, you know. Let's have a look at this saw. What we got here? So this is a similar deal by the looks of it. So we got a saw there, and another vowel, but they do a choir. So it looks like what I probably did is just duplicate the previous serum and just switch it up a little bit. Which yeah, that's you've probably heard this before in tutorials, but yeah, with layering stuff, that's usually the best way to go about it. Rather than like you have your sound and then you create a whole new sound on top, and then try and layer those, you duplicate the sound and then change the original sound on the second layer. Fuck with that. It'll just sit a lot better that way. Trying to layer two completely different sounds just doesn't always really work. And as you can see in this case, I've just duplicated it and kind of just done a similar approach, well, yeah, it's probably just exactly the same kind of patch basically, but with slightly different wavetables. And then together, boom. And then we've only really got a few more sounds. What's the next one? This guy. And you can hear those tails. This is why I've resampled it, so I can cut off those noisy tails that have been made by the bit reduction. So yeah, let's turn off some shit. So yeah, this is operator, super simple. So that's just a square. We've got some squelchy filter, envelope business going on. Just this little shape here, and then bringing in this guy, just turn up the course. So what I'll tend to do with this sort of shit is kind of like slowly bring it in, and you can hear all these different, get all these different tones. So yeah, mess around with this course, kind of get these weird tones. And if I'm messing with this level, yeah, just it's hard to explain, but it yeah, there's so much you can get out of this synth with using FM. Boom. So yeah, another really simple sound, and again, like I was saying before, just like little hints of stuff like flanger, give it some width, chorus, redux. I've been using this quite a lot. Just kind of gives it a nice little high-end buzz. Emphasize more with overdrive. Again with the extreme kind of EQing. This is probably the same deal where I've duplicated that and then just taken off that top. It's just straight saw, square even. This guy, just poking it in there. Oh, this is modern talking, so I've got all the I managed to find all of the wavetables from Massive, and I've got them here in Serum. So that's pretty simple, really. LFO on the wavetable position, using this crazy flange filter. Again, little tiny bits of flanger phaser, dimension and stuff, just give it some vibes. I've probably done more processing on this since in like the following projects, just stuff like EQing, OTT and whatnot. But yeah, as you can hear, yeah, most of the vibe is down. This one again, that's similar to this square down here. Just some FM business. So easy to get these wicked sounds in Operator, man. And I really like just how simple it is as well. And especially since it doesn't really use much CPU as well, which you know, when I was using my shitty fucking laptop, yeah, was always a plus. Cool. Let's go back into the finished project and look at some other stuff. Actually, before we do that, let's look at the vocal.
I'm on a funk flex,
which is actually me, believe it or not. Let's hear how terrible it sounds without any processing.
I'm on a funk flex. I'm on a funk flex.
It's got a little squelch in there.
I'm on a funk flex.
Gross. Yeah, let's turn all this processing off. Let's embarrass myself.
I'm on a funk flex.
What a bell end. So yeah, I kind of just got, I mean, I was just on a roll with this tune. I was like, fuck it, let's do some vocals. I've never done that before. Just went for it.
I'm on a funk flex.
And yeah, I mean the main thing I'll say, I mean, I've pitched it down a little bit and OTT, distortion, all this stuff, but I think a key thing is like, and making it not sound like me is just like assonating the words I'm saying quite clearly. I think when you, I mean, especially with my fucking mumbly northern accent, as you can probably tell by not being able to understand half the shit I say. But yeah, I think when you're having those like vocals that you want people to catch onto, you really need to be really clear with how you speak. So yeah, that's what came out.
I'm on a funk flex. I'm on a funk flex.
Just gives it something for people to remember, something to latch on to, something original. And yeah, I just got, this is kind of quite a typical vocal chain for me. It's just like overdrive, dimension expander, OTT, EQ.
I'm on a funk flex.
Yeah.
Again, I probably did end up processing this stuff more in a later project. But yeah, this is the basis of it. I think I've also got a pitched up layer here.
I'm on a funk flex. I'm on a funk flex.
Yep. Cool, let's go into the more recent project again and finish off looking through. Cool, so here we are back in the finished project. Final 71 or whatever. Yeah, let's keep going through these vocal bits and bobs we've got going on.
Yeah.
This little yeah.
Yeah.
Sticky Woods actually asked me the other day if that was from Clean Air of his, but which it does sound like it.
Yeah.
But it's actually from a Vadim pack, which I've been rinsing actually, especially for this album. Yeah, what else we got? I call this one Roy because it sounds like he's saying Roy. No idea where that's from, but that's obviously got a lot of processing on it and stuff. A few more bits. They got this little, all these funky boys get funky.
Yeah, keep it right there.
They're from George Clinton sample pack, which Jinx and Dub gave me, which is fucking sick. Yeah, loads of treats in there. I think that's actually where I got the horns from as well. But let's quickly have a look. What else we got? That's a classic. Little James Brown from I Got You, I Feel Good. Yeah, I think, is it this one? Yeah, I think it's that one. Maybe not. Yeah, I think that's from the George Clinton pack as well. Anyway, yeah, I find it really hard to come across horn samples a lot of the time. I do have session horns, which I use sometimes from Contact to create my own horns, but it's just it's so hard to recreate. You can never, I don't know. I'm sure with a lot of tweaking, you could, but I'm not about that. And yeah, with stuff like this, again, I've kind of done a lot to get some high end in there, like a bit of Redux, overdrive. I use this ambience quite a lot. Reverb, it's just nice to just give it a bit of room. What else we got? Got the guitar here. Let's just unfreeze this boy. So yeah, the main thing with this guitar, I mean, this is originally a wah preset I'd made. But yeah, this is just another rack that I've saved. Super simple, just Ableton amps, cabinet, dimension expander again. I fucking love that guy. Good compressor. I think one of the main things that makes it sound dope is this plate reverb from Arturia. I'll turn it off. It's quite subtle, but it does sound fucking sick. And yeah, I've been using this on pretty much all my guitars. It sounds really good on vocals as well. I think I actually got it for free. I'm not sure if it's still free, but it was definitely free at one point. Yeah. This guy, similar to that last guitar channel where I did actually bypass the bandpass. Yeah, this is sort of wah recreation. So what a wah pedal basically does is what this auto filter is doing here. It's just a bandpass basically, and then that goes through the amp, and that's how you get that sound. So that's kind of what I've done here. Super simple. Yeah, that's pretty much it for all that. Then there's just all these, yeah, sweeps and rises, all super important stuff for this kind of high energy dance music. You know, get loads of rises in there. These are mostly just vengeance-y bits by the looks of it. Quite often they're sidechained as well to give them some rhythm, but not always.
Yeah.
I think I made that one myself actually, for a change. But yeah, again, like I was saying before, fuck it, use samples, it's cool. Especially with stuff like that. Like, if you need a riser, just fucking get a riser. There's no point spending ages making one. Sometimes that's a good idea, but, you know, most of the time, it's a waste of time. Cool. And that's pretty much it. But, well, I suppose we'll look at these cable guys, shaper boxes. This is what I'm doing on my sidechaining with. Maybe look at the bass one. There's a bit more going on there. Yeah, this is just triggered with the sidechain trigger I've made up here on operator.
Yeah.
If I turn this off, you'll see how much it's actually doing.
Yeah.
Sounds horrible.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is something I've been getting more into, is kind of using sidechaining a bit more intensely, but more as a mixing tool. Not necessarily as rhythmic as I used to make everything. More kind of just to shave off the transients at the start. As you can see here, you can really go in and create your own curves and stuff. Really cool plugin. I'm pretty sure it was only like 20 quid, or I don't know, maybe like 50 max. But yeah, this is a really wicked plugin. This is Shaperbox by Cable Guys. Yeah, definitely recommend it. So that's what I'm using for my sidechain on the instrument channel, on the bass channel. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. We can have a look at the master channel. This is again pretty typical for me. This is another Ableton rack I've saved. Again, something worth noting, you know, if you like, I've got those guitar racks saved. I've got that live bass guitar rack saved. I've got my master thing saved. Like, if you have like a little processing chain that you tend to use a lot, fucking save it, whack it, and you use the library. Like, look in my user library. I've got loads of little things saved, so I can just chuck it on, boom, save some time. Yeah, this is pretty typical master channel for me. So I've got this guy cutting out all the bass from the lows, in the sides even. Utility, some subtle EQ, then this SSL channel EQ. I always use this on the master now. It's fucking just tasty. Let's see if you can actually hear much difference if I turn it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. It just adds like the extra sheen.
Yeah.
And there's just something about using these kind of predetermined musical EQ points that they have in these old EQs, rather than like just going wild with fucking Pro Q. Yeah, it just sounds a lot sweeter and it's a lot more subtle.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like really like compression by the looks of it. And then Fab Filter, Pro L.
Yeah.
Not doing a great deal. I mean, yeah, obviously the final version's been mastered, but yeah, that's what my master channel tends to look like. So yeah, I hope that was. I hope I managed to cover everything there. Thanks for joining me in this video. If there's anything else that you want me to clarify or go over, just leave a comment. I'm happy to go over it for you, and yeah, maybe let me know if there's any other tracks you'd like me to go over, because yeah, it's super easy to do a video like this. Yeah, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, all those shenanigans, and I will see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.